Hey everybody, I don't know about you, but I love food. Some people say I might love food a little too much, so much that I actually bring it into my hobbies. So today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite games, Go Nuts for Donuts. This game, originally backed on Kickstarter, was picked up by Gamewright, who you may know from other games such as Sushi Go or Slamwich, or another one of my favorites, Super Tooth. It's a pretty simple card game, but we're going to look at all of the components. We're going to go through how it plays, and then we'll go through some final thoughts. This is the basic setup for Go Nuts for Donuts. This is called the donut row. These markers up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just indicate card slots, and those are the number of players plus 1. So in this instance, we're set up for a 4-player game. Also, on the cards themselves, you have markers here, which indicate this is good for the number of players. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. So if you're only playing a 4-player game, you can pull some of those cards out, and that's why you don't see any blue cards, which these would be removed from our deck. That deck goes right here on the side of the donut row. You may have also noticed that the background color corresponds to the number of players, and that was intentional. Every player is also given a hand of these cards. These correspond to those numbers that we see at the top of the donut row. Since this is only a 4-player game, we don't need 6 or 7, so those are going to be discarded. Everyone else, or you'll see you'll have the remaining cards, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and every player is going to have a matching set of those. During the course of the game, the players will secretly choose one of these cards corresponding to the donut that they want to take. So they can say, I'm going to choose 1, I'll put it face down in front of me, everyone else will do that, and then once everyone has selected a card, they flip it over. If anyone has selected the donut that you want as well, then nobody gets that donut, and that donut is discarded. All of that action happens from left to right. So if I had put that down and said, I want number 1, but so had another player, then this apple fritter is taken and discarded. The other cards will, or the other players will then go through and see if anyone else has chosen it. If someone had chosen number 2 and they were the only one, then that's going to go in front of them, and that is now their donut. Let's say nobody chooses number 3, the coffee, and it'll stay out there. No one chooses number 4, but if someone chooses number 5, then they get that, and that goes in front of them. Once those are selected, and everyone has gone, you will then refill the donut row from the donut deck. Now each one of these cards has some special abilities. If we take a look at this card, for instance, that brown circle indicates the number of points that this card is worth at the end of the game. It also has a qualifier. So in this one, if there are 13 or more cards in the discard pile at the end of the game, then this apple fritter is worth 3 points. Some cards have a red circle. That red circle is negative points, but also it has a special ability. Take any card from that discard pile. Great. Now, you'll see that by seeing the star in the corner. That means that is specifically identified as a special ability that happens when the card is taken from the donut row. If a card is taken from another player, or taken from the discard pile, or drawn from the deck, these special abilities never activate. It's only when the card is taken from the donut row. Other cards, such as coffee, but when we take a look at it, it has a special ability, again, for the end of the game. This is worth 1 for each negative card. So it would work very well with the red velvet. So people are trying to build combos throughout the game. There are other cards like Jelly Filled, which have a series. So the card is worth more, or the set is worth more, depending on how many you have. Jelly Filled Donuts, Donut Holes, the Spicy Donut, these are instances of these series cards. So if you have 3 Jelly Filled Donuts, the set is worth 5 points. If you, however, manage to get 6 Jelly Filled Donuts, the set is worth 15 points. So you also have to be very conscious of what other people are drawing from the donut deck, and potentially you can choose the number you think they're going to draw to prevent them from getting those extra points. The Spicy is one of those instances where you see that set, but you have to hedge your bet. It's worth 2 at the beginning, but if you're stuck with only 2, then it's worth -2 points. But if you manage to get 3 Spicy Donuts, it's worth 10 points. There's a lot of variety in all of these cards. We'll see stuff, the maple bar, powdered donuts, plain, the donut holes like I showed earlier. We get to glazed donuts, eclairs, the French cruller. And the art is just simply fantastic. This makes me laugh every single time I play. I'm like, this guy is so French. He's got his mustache and everything. You go through all of these cards. You have your Boston cream donut. It looks like he has his little goatee. You have your Potchki. These are so great. And when I was first looking at this game, that was learning about donuts I never even knew existed. The Malasada or the Potchki. There's some day-old donuts that look like they've had a better time. Blueberry, old-fashioned. There's milk and coffee like I showed earlier. And my favorite is the apple fritter. I love the art on this. When it first went up on Kickstarter, I sent my wife a message and I said, hey, check this out. And her immediate response was, so we're buying this game, right? And I was absolutely enthralled by it. So let's move on to final thoughts. So that's the basics of Go Nuts for Donuts. As you can see, it's not a very complex game. The good thing about it, too, is you can find it pretty much anywhere. We've seen it in big box stores such as Target, but we've also seen it in our friendly local gaming stores and on many retailers online. It's very accessible, and that was, I think, due to the distribution deal with Gamewright. But one of my favorite parts about it is the fact that you can play it with almost any age group. Looking from my son, who's 5, on up, they all have a blast. The art is engaging, the rules are simple to teach, the game is great, so I highly recommend it. If you're in the market for a game, a little filler game, Go Nuts for Donuts is not going to disappoint you.